Hey, welcome to Woo Guitar Lessons. I'm going to be teaching you a few things today then. A few lessons ago we looked at a couple of things like how to hold the guitar, how to hold the guitar pick, and what we're going to do in today's lesson is actually take that one step further and take a look at actually how do you go about picking notes and strumming, you know, how do you play the guitar and actually get sound to come out of it. So firstly then, let's take a look at your picking or your strumming hand. You know, that's going to be the hand where you're holding the pick. So we already know then from previous lessons that your arm's going to come over the top, you know, around this part of your forearms, probably going to be rested on the guitar up there. So we know that already. And then, you know, we've also learned how to hold the pick correctly. So for the moment then, like I said, we're going to concentrate on this hand, so your fretting hand. If you can balance the guitar like that, you can just rest it on your leg. Otherwise, you know, you can just hold the headstock up here, just hold the guitar to balance it. It's all going to be about this hand here for the time being. So what I want you to do then is, holding the pick, you know, like I've showed you, just put the pick, sort of rest it on the top string and just sort of simply move your hand downwards like this. Okay, so just pushing downwards like that. You can see that I'm not just using my wrist like this, I'm not pushing with my thumb. All this part here is sort of going down slightly. If you can see my hand like that, so if I do it again. Okay, and all I'm doing after I've played it, I'm just taking my hand and putting it onto the strings, resting it on the strings, and that will stop the sound from ringing out. So, and then I'm just going to bring my hand back up to the top and put it back on the top string and just push down again. Okay, so you can see my entire arm sort of moving like that. Now when you're doing that, remember when I was talking about holding the pick, if you're not holding it tight enough, the pick might sort of move around in your hand and it might even, you know, fall out of your hand. In which case, you know, try to hold it a little tighter. If you're hearing this sound, yeah, where it's a little bit sort of harsh and a little bit sort of brash, that's probably because the string, the pick might be getting stuck in the strings. Okay, so if you're holding it really tight and showing quite a lot of the pick, then it, you know, it might get stuck in there. What you might want to try to do is sort of move your hand a little bit further down the pick, so you're just showing, you know, a little bit of pick there. Okay, and that way you should get a nice smooth sound. All right, and the second thing to note then here is, when I'm going downwards like this, I'm actually allowing the pick to sort of go down like, if I get closer, like this. So rather than just putting your pick sort of parallel and going down the strings, when I go down, it actually angles downwards like that, and that helps it kind of glide over the strings. Okay, so you know, you're holding it like you would do, you know, holding the pick like usual, but just let your hand sort of glide down like that. Okay, so again. Okay, so that's going downwards. So, you know, just keep repeating that over and over, you know, until you think you've got that down. Then what we're going to do is start at the bottom and come up. Okay, so again, just put your pick right at the bottom underneath all the strings and just bring it upwards. And make sure you're hitting all strings. Okay, and if you look at my other fingers, you'll see that, you know, I'm holding the pick with my thumb and my index finger. My other fingers are kind of in like a natural position, you know, I'm not deliberately holding them out, I'm not curling them tight, they're just sort of hanging there loose. Okay, so, and they just kind of move with the rest of your hand. Okay, so that's just going down and up like that. So again, coming up from the bottom like that, as we did before, you're allowing the pick to sort of naturally glide up. Okay, like I said before, rather than just going like that, I'm going to let the pick glide up and then to come down it, so it's kind of like that sort of movement. You know, I'm exaggerating it a bit there, but you're letting the pick go up and down rather than just like that, because it will get stuck in the strings. Okay, so once you've got the down and the up sort of motion working, what we're going to try and do is just go down and then just come straight back up. So Okay, so that's a sort of basic technique then for your strumming hand. In the coming lessons we'll actually learn how to pick some notes, so I'll go over it in a lot greater detail, but that's the basics. Now your fretting hand then, that's going to be this hand, the hand that's actually going to be fretting notes and chords. That's why it's called the fretting hand, or that's why I refer to it as that. So what I'm going to ask you to do then is take your index finger and to put that onto fret 2 string 3. Okay, so index finger, that's this finger, count along 1 fret, 2 frets, so you're going to put it on fret 2, like I said, in between the markers, so that's fret 2 here, and you're going to put it on string 3. So if I count from the bottom, you've got 1, 2, 3, I'm going to put it on string 3, and if I pick just that string, that's what it sounds like. So what am I doing there then? If you look at your hand, this part there, that sort of big curve there, that sort of fits perfectly in to the back of the neck, okay? So if I bring it round for you, you can see it sort of just fits right in there like that. And what I'm going to do is, depending on the size of your hands, if you've got quite sort of large hands, your thumb might be able to sort of wrap over the top or just hang at the top like that. If you've got sort of quite small hands, what you can do is with your thumb sort of plant it on the back of the neck on the wood, okay? So anywhere like that. So plant it on, and your index finger's going to come sort of wrap it underneath like that, and then curl your finger over, and using the very tip of your finger there, that's where you're going to hold down on fret 2 string 3, okay? And if I bring it back round, you can see my finger, it's sort of generally in the middle in between those two markers. Anywhere around there is fine. Okay, so like I said, that part of your hand there, it fits next to the guitar neck, and your finger just wraps underneath, and you can see how my finger's bent. If you look at that, my finger there, my index finger is really bent over, it's not flat. And if I show you now why that's important, with my finger in that position, if I just go down all the strings, you can hear it's changed slightly from what we did before, but as my finger's sort of curled underneath like that, it's wrapped under and my finger's really curled over like that, and I'm making sure I'm using the tip of my finger. If I was to lay my finger down more flat like that, what's going to happen is, hear that? What I'm doing there is sort of, I'm doing it on purpose, but I'm muting some of the notes. They're not really ringing out, are they? If you listen to this, if I pick each string individually, it sounds really nice and clean. If I were to lay my finger down like that, what's happening is the bottom part of my finger is sort of accidentally touching the other strings, the bottom 2 strings, and it's muting them like this. Okay, which is something that we don't want to happen. So if that's happening to you, what you might want to try and do is, if your thumb's at the top over the neck, just bring it down a little bit, and that should hopefully sort of let you push your hand further under the neck so that your finger can sort of wrap under and use the tip of your finger instead. So if I bring that round and show you, rather than having my thumb over the top, you bring it round a little bit, and then you're just going to sort of push your hand underneath more. So you can see there's actually quite a big gap now between the neck and my hand there, but that's allowing me now, just bringing it under, it's allowing me to use the sort of tip of my finger curled under rather than having it flat and straight, okay? So I know it's a little bit sort of confusing at first. Always try to use the tips of your fingers, and another point is, at first, the skin on the tips of your fingers is going to be really sort of soft and sensitive, so when you're holding down the strings it really can dig into your fingers, and I know that's a bit of a problem because sometimes the notes might not sound as you think they should do. They're sort of muted and a little bit muffled. It could be that the string's just digging into your skin and your fingers, and the harder you press on to sort of counteract that, the string just goes further and further into your fingers. It can be quite painful. If you keep playing the guitar, say 10 minutes a day or whatever, practice it, after a few weeks the skin on your fingers will become a little bit harder, and you'll be able to hold down all different strings without it hurting at all, okay? So that's just a bit of a side note there. So remember, the main thing is use the tips of your fingers. If you can't reach because you've got slightly smaller hands, just bring your thumb down on the neck more and just press on with your tip of your finger like that and wrap your hand underneath, okay? So if I play it again. Like that, okay? So just keep practicing that. You know, to start off with, just take your hand off, just do the down and up. You know, just get used to that slow sort of strumming style, and then once you've got comfortable with that, you know, put your finger on, index finger, fret 2, string 3, like that, and just go down and up again. Okay, and if when you go down you hear any muted notes like that, just look at your finger position. Take a look and see if the bottom of your finger is muting the string. If so, like I say, just try and bring it under further and use the tip of your finger and pick each note and check that it sounds correct. That's how to fret and play notes, the very basics of that. Like I said, in the next lesson we're going to be putting some more fingers onto the guitar, and I'm going to get you doing some actual strumming.